I forgot to say it in the episode, so I'll say it at the top. The Fellowship Podcast is now on youtube.com/@nationgolf. And we encourage you to listen to it over there on YouTube because we get paid. YouTube is monetized for the good guys at Nation Golf. So if you don't mind switching your podcast platform over to YouTube, that would be greatly appreciated. Love y'all. God bless. See you in church.
See you at church.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1-year anniversary episode of the Fellowship Podcast, presented by the Nation Golf Company and hosted by yours truly, Adam Hawk, and my now longtime iPod broadcasting partner, Ryan Engle. This exact time last year, the Monday after the U.S. Open at the Los Angeles Country Club, we were just bloated with takes. Like stomach over belt, uncomfortable when sitting down.
Stomach over belt.
Bloated with takes.
Yeah.
We just had to belch them out. So you know what we did? We took 2 dirt cheap clip-on Lavier Bluetooth microphones.
Is that how you pronounce it? Lavier.
Pinched them between our fingers, held them up to our traps, and recorded audio directly into the Voice Memos application on my cellular telephone device.
Just some good old-fashioned jaw jacking.
Some horse hockey.
You love to speak it.
It was not great. But 57 episodes and some major audio equipment upgrades later, here we are, right back where we started to recap another playing of the United States Open Championship. But before we do, Pards, what do you remember about that first day of iPod broadcasting 363 days ago?
Not much. Please refresh this idiot's memory.
I remember a few things. I remember thinking how liberating it was to be able to do an audio-only podcast instead of a 3-camera YouTube show, which we had been doing, which required a producer, a guest, lots of editing, and that resulted in our YouTube shows airing a week after we made them, which meant we could never discuss anything topical because it would already be dated by the time it got on the World Wide Web.
Correct.
So I loved the immediacy aspect of the podcast and the fact that we didn't need a producer or a guest and we could just track some audio and get it out there the same morning. And I really loved the fact that we didn't have to cut a big old check at the end of each episode to a camera operator.
Yeah, it's sure nice not having to spend money you don't have. You love it.
Well said.
Yeah, you love to save it.
But I honestly remember the first show being the day that I fell back in love with radio.
Wow.
Most of you know that I worked in radio for 15 years at a pretty high level, and I absolutely loved it. It was, without a doubt, my passion, and it has been most of my life. I remember as a kid loving that my parents were AM radio listeners because I was so enamored as a young kid in the backseat of the car with the idea of eavesdropping into a one-way conversation and listening to the host carefully craft his or her words to draw the audience in and work his or her magic to keep that audience. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. But in 2021, after 25 years of loving radio and 15 years of working in the business, I was completely and totally burned out. So you know what I did? I quit. KWIT, quit.
You told the guy on the driveway who owned the lemonade stand to go take his produce elsewhere. Right? Is that what you did, Hawk?
One day we'll tell that story.
Are you going to cut that out?
No.
Okay, great. Thanks.
This was very inside.
I'm sure Rome's one of our biggest listeners.
Easy. Easy rod. Easy rod.
Easy ride. Easy ride. Easy ride.
Did you sign an NDA or something? Why are you being such a little bitch about it?
Now, at the time that I quit, I was convinced that I didn't like radio anymore, and I was sick of running the race every day to be creative and stay locked into a 24/7 news cycle. And the fire, which I thought would burn forever, had gone out. And that's a strange place to be with something you've spent most of your entire life loving. It's not like quitting a job. I've quit jobs before, and most of the time you can't wait to get the hell out of there.
Have you ever been fired?
I have.
How many times?
I have been fired once. You?
Never.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been fired once. I had it coming.
Yeah. I think I know which one it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. Continue on.
I've quit jobs before, and quitting radio wasn't like quitting a normal job. This was like divorcing your childhood crush after a damn good 15-year marriage. I never wanted to burn out on radio. It just happened. And it kind of upended my life, my career, and my future trajectory. But here's the thing, Ryan. You and I did this incredibly amateur show 363 days ago into incredibly amateur equipment for an incredibly small audience. And that was 2 years since I had done anything at all that resembled radio. And I freaking loved it. Loved it. Loved doing the podcast with you, even after that first episode. I felt like a house that just got its power back on after a long outage.
You were so excited.
Yeah.
That you were buying alien tape off of infomercials.
Another great inside joke. It was so cool but so strange to fall in love so quickly with something that I went without for 2 years, but then it hit me on the way back home from Nation Golf that day a year ago, and I even called you on my drive back to talk about it. I never stopped loving radio. I just stopped loving my particular job at the time in radio. Radio didn't burn me out. The job I had in radio burned me out. But I didn't know that until that day a year ago when we were just dicking around doing a show for nobody on $15 worth of equipment. But it was really important for me to figure that out, and I don't know that I ever would have without us doing the show. And part of the reason it was so important for me personally to have had that discovered and figured out through this show is because this show is my absolute favorite thing in the world to do. And it's not even close.
Favorite thing?
Yeah, and I'm talking about hobbies and creative outlets. I'm not talking about spending time with my family or going to church. I'm talking about...
I think you are. I think part of you is a little bit.
I'm talking about outlets and interests. Nothing I do anywhere in life is more fun than this. I love prepping the show, writing the show, doing the show, editing the show, uploading the show, promoting the show, and talking to people who listen to the show.
He loves to do it.
I really do. This really was like rekindling an old flame that I thought had gone out. And I think you can relate to this a little bit. You've surfed your entire life. It's arguably the biggest part of your life that isn't golf. And you worked in the industry, and you've had to segregate in your mind the difference between surfing, standing up on a wave and being out in the ocean, versus working in the industry, dealing with the business side that you don't like, and trying not to let what burns you out on that side burn you out when you're actually in the water, right? I mean, you can relate to this a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, what gets everyone together and into it is the act of riding waves. Riding waves is the best. It's just like our favorite movie. It'll change your life.
Surfing's the source. It'll change your life. I swear to God.
Point Break, baby.
Yeah. No, riding waves is the best. I'll always love that. But when talking about surfing, as in everything else that comes with it, the tribe, the antics, the industry, the characters, the way in which surfers are, surfing sucks. Have you met a more critical, selfish group of people than a committed tribalistic surfer? I mean, they just don't exist. That, along with the politics and being around the industry and being burned on it, you're around anything that much and living and breathing in it, had enough. And you know what? Thank God for the game of golf. What's great about golf is there's an etiquette. We can take turns. We can schedule a time to play. I think I'd like surfing more if I could do that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all going at 10 o'clock, us four. Everyone's going to get the fuck out of our way. And we're actually going to follow some etiquette, hold each other accountable to that, and take turns instead of trying to take your best friend's waves.
Folks, Billie Eilish has a song called Everything I Wanted, and I have to ask, did we, the fellowship, just get everything we wanted this 124th U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2? Hard golf course? Yes. Pars at a premium? Yes. Bogeys lurking on every hole? Yes. Irons off the tee? Yes. Long approach shots? Yes. Wyndham Clark, nowhere to be seen? Yes. Drama on a Sunday with massive names trading spots at the top? Yes. Choke jobs and clutch moments? Yes. Came down to the 72nd hole? Yes. So how come I loved the U.S. Open and Ryan Engle didn't?
I did not like it.
You didn't love it.
It was above average. That's fair to say. Nowadays, you say anything that's not shaking your pom-poms with the masses, you're a hater.
We'll get to that, but I cannot bury the lead any further. Bryson DeChambeau is your winner. 6 under par, beats Rory McIlroy by 1 single shot. This is Bryson's second major. Both of them are U.S. Opens, and he joins Bobby Jones, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods as the only 4 golfers ever to win the U.S. Amateur and multiple U.S. Opens. Ryan Engle, after finishing T6 at the Masters and just 1 shot short of the PGA Championship, Bryson DeChambeau wins the U.S. Open. It has been a hell of a major season for the 30-year-old Texan. Your thoughts on BDC after his performance at Pinehurst?
I mean, this guy has it going on. You don't have to like the style of it, but he looks comfortable in his own skin, and he is not afraid of the big moments. He wants the big moments. This guy's a show pony. I don't agree with a lot of the shit in his bag, the way he approaches the game, but the guy and the aura and the shots he hits under pressure, great for the game, entertainment-wise. If Bryson isn't in that tournament yesterday and Rory wins by 2 over Saliva Hands or whatever the fuck his name is.
Matthew Pavon.
Yeah. I mean, how boring is that major with 3 bogeys coming in and he still wins? Bryson brought the electricity to the event, and I think he's on a little run where he found something there. There's something that's clicking for him, and it's exciting to watch. I don't think anyone watched this weekend going, wow, Bryson is not exciting. You might not like him and not like what he's doing or how he's doing it, but you can't say it's not exciting. I think it might be the greatest character redemption in the history of sports.
Interesting. I've got some thoughts on that I'll get to in just a sec. But off the top, this dude played an incredible golf tournament. And yes, he got away with serial murder, hitting his driver off the planet and never really having to pay the price for it. But he scrambled his nads off. My nads! And that run of par saves on the front 9.
Incredible.
When he was on in 3 and 1-putting everything was classic U.S. Open golf and requires nerves of steel. He is a very deserving champion. He slept on a big lead Saturday night. He played with that lead and that pressure most of Sunday. And when Rory came up and snatched it from him, Bryson didn't panic. He didn't press. He just held it steady because that's what U.S. Opens require. They require you to not shit down your leg when you've got a stomach full of coffee and Chipotle. And he didn't. And what he did on 18 was special, special stuff, and it will be remembered forever. And I don't care what you, Ryan, or Tony Baccardi have to say about that 55-yard bunker shot and how easy it might have been because Johnson Wagner hit it closer on his second try.
Here comes the emotional response, ladies and gentlemen.
After Johnson Wagner bladed one through a clubhouse window and then Bryson told him to try it again and coached him through it.
Calm down.
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Cut me a break. You going to cut me a break?
Yeah.
Honestly, are you and Tony trolling me or just really, really stupid? If you haven't seen it, folks, there's a video going around of Golf Channel's Johnson Wagner hitting that same shot Bryson had on the 72nd hole. And because Johnson Wagner pulled it off on his second try in front of no one for no stakes whatsoever, a bunch of idiots like Ryan and Tony Baccardi are trying to tell me that it's a quote-unquote easy shot. Here's the thing. Before you jump in here. Here's the thing. Every golf shot is remarkably easier when you're hitting it for a second time, especially when no one is watching, no one cares, and Bryson is coaching you.
First of all, no one said it was an easy shot. Secondly, you're missing the whole point of that video. The point of that video isn't the fact that, look, he can do it too. And look, this shot's easy. The point of that video was Bryson coached him into the shot. Wagner was asking him where his mind was at, how he approached the shot, what he was thinking, and Bryson was explaining to him that, no, it's an explosion shot with a less lofted club, and I knew that hitting behind the ball like that, if anything, I was going to miss short. So the point of that video wasn't to show that the shot was easy. It was to show what went through Bryson's thought process and prep to hit that shot. And the result of hearing that, it was a chunk and run explosion shot with all the trickle in the world. And the worst thing you're going to do in that is leave it a little bit short and you have a 15-footer instead of a 4-footer. The shot wasn't as hard as the pressure was. So guys like you with emotional response, oh my God, it was the greatest up and down in U.S. Open history. It was not. Was it special and was it electrifying that he got up and down and fist pump, made the putt? Absolutely. But if we're talking about degree of difficulty to those shots, PGA pros are a lot different than Joes and Schmoes. And where that difference comes is around the greens. These guys with wedges, they're magical. They're so much better than the average golfer, especially out of bunkers. Regular golfers, not PGA pros, when it comes to sand and water, they get the hives. They have this thing where you see water on a tee shot, you're like, oh my God, don't hit it in the water. You get in a bunker and you're like, fuck, just get it out. PGA pros, they get in a bunker and they're like, I can make this. They're extremely good at bunker shots. That ball was a perfect lie, level, almost into an upslope, which is ripe for the picking for a PGA pro. When you have something where the blade is open and you don't have to be precise on where the club is entering the sand in this case, it's way easier for these guys. He had a free run at it. He didn't have to hit it solid. He just had to give it enough inertia to get it on the green and chase up. And he pulled it off. It wasn't that fucking difficult. He could sit there with a bucket of balls and put that thing in a hula hoop just about every time. So, was there pressure to it? Yes. Does the pressure add to it? Yes. Did he do it under pressure? Yes. Was that incredible? Yes. Was the shot difficult? It was not. End of story, Hawk.
Anyway, thank you for that.
Just filling you in because, you know,
I don't know
I know
golf.
a little more about golf than you do, and
Yep.
that's okay.
Okay.
You'll get there someday, bud.
For Bryson to pull that shot off, a 50-yard explosion, chunk and run with the tournament on the line, whether that's an easy shot or a hard shot doesn't matter. They are all hard in that spot. And he made the shot, and then he rolled in the putt, and he snatched Rory's soul and quite literally put that soul on a flight back to Palm Beach.
Did you see Rory in the car? How
Yeah.
fast he drove out of the lot?
I'd like to have a word with him about driving fast in parking
I was going to
lots.
tell you that.
Yeah.
That was not parade speed.
No, it was not.
There were people around.
There were kids around.
Kids around.
Yeah.
Rory, what did I say to you the beginning of the day via text message? What did I label Rory as? Douchebag. He was an extreme douche. You can say it. You can agree to it. You can still like him. I'm just saying, you got to start getting along with reality here and there.
Okay, can I finish my thoughts on Bryson and then we'll get to Rory?
Just tell me you thought that was a douche move at the end.
To leave and to drive that fast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it was.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What I love about Bryson, in a time where golf is completely devoid of characters, Bryson DeChambeau is unapologetically exactly that. He's a character.
Is a character
Yeah.
for sure.
He's different. He knows it. He doesn't shy away from that. And whether you like him or not, golf needs that. If he's your hero, he's a great hero. If he's your villain, he's equally as good at playing that role without even really trying. What I do not love about Bryson, allow me to finish this thought, and then I would love to hear your feedback on it because you have great intuition and a knack for sniffing out inauthenticity. Is that a word?
It would be in my vocabulary, but I'd probably get roasted over the coals if I used it in a text to you.
Yeah. Inauthenticity? I don't know. What I don't love about Bryson, I do think that this guy has overshot his landing in terms of the 180 we can all agree he's turned. No one can pinpoint when it happened or why. It's almost like we all took the exact same drug at the exact same time, but Bryson DeChambeau went from public enemy number one to everyone's favorite golfer sometime around Saturday at the PGA Championship last month. Everyone clicked into the exact same wavelength at the exact same time.
I'm telling you, it's the biggest character turnaround in sports history.
I don't disagree. And the fact that it happened for everyone at the exact same time.
It's incredible.
Without any real explanation.
You can't pinpoint it. You can't even say why or when, where, how. It just happened.
Exactly. I felt the gravitational pull, and I was big into Bryson DeChambeau right up until yesterday's final round at the U.S. Open.
I knew this. Okay. Go ahead.
One too many winks at the camera, literally and figuratively. I love that this guy plays to the crowd, but there's a line when it becomes gratuitous. And he laid it on pretty thick yesterday, especially during the award ceremony when he told the crowd how they were the best fans of all time and a huge reason why he won. And then he doubled back at the end to invite them all to somehow find a way to touch the trophy so they could feel what he felt because they were a huge part of it. That was a little much.
You don't think that was him being genuine?
I do not.
You don't?
I do not.
You think this is a contrived thing?
I don't necessarily think it's 100% contrived. I just think that this guy doesn't know anything in moderation. So when he starts hearing and feeling that he's loved, he's going to start doing anything to increase that feeling of love.
You're telling me that a quirky guy who has serious social things going on, he puts his heart and all of his attention and effort into engaging in the crowd to propel himself over the finish line. That's what he did. That was clear that that's what he was doing. Whether you think that was genuine or not, he did that to use it to his advantage because he found that this is working for him, right? You don't think that there's a celebratory response and feeling from that to just ride that high and just go extra with it? I mean, you think he's just faking it up there? I don't think he's smart enough to fake it, dude.
I'm hesitant to call it faking it, but here's the thing. After he laid it on real thick with the crowd and invited them to come touch the trophy, he went back to the fairway bunker where he had taken his third shot, and he started raking it on live TV.
I loved it. I feel like this guy is so weird. Just keep going, bro.
Oh, my gosh.
Just keep doing it.
Look, we get it, dude. You love that people like you now, but raking the bunker with a rake in one hand and the trophy in the other is like being super rich, standing up in church and telling everyone to watch you drop a few $1 bills in the collection bin.
Not.
And beyond standing up as a rich guy and dropping a few $1 bills in the collection bin, you're expecting applause for it instead of realizing how awkward and try hard it is. For those that think it was a nice touch, it wasn't. No one is going in that bunker.
No one thinks it's a nice touch.
No one.
This guy is a weirdo, dude.
Listen,
what do you expect?
Listen.
He is literally off the leash in the biggest moment of his career, and he's finally been accepted. His whole life he hasn't been accepted, and he's finally... Of course he's going to act like a weirdo.
Hold on. No one is going in that bunker after the final group of the final round of a major, except Johnson Wagner to buzz the tower and skull one into the grill room. But no one is going in that bunker. No one is going in for quite some time, probably weeks. The USGA has an infrastructure teardown that probably won't end for a number of days. And then Pinehurst has to clean everything up, get the course back to regular shape for regular play, and then weeks from now, somebody will be in that bunker. This guy going back after the trophy ceremony to rake the bunker on live TV was for no other reason than it was on live TV. I am too aware of how too aware Bryson is of the cameras. I am watching a guy that clearly goes to bed every night reading every tweet, every thread, every comment, every post, and every article about himself. And this guy has been a really happy reader the last 3 weeks. But instead of realizing he was in the sweet spot, he's overdone it.
He wanted to keep sand from that shot because it was the greatest shot of his career, and he put sand from his shot into the cup, and on his way out from doing that, he did the gentleman thing, which didn't mean anything. It was just a sign of respect to rake his way out of it. That's why he was in there raking. They just didn't catch why he went in there. He explained it afterwards, and instead of stomping out like a Rory McIlroy would have, he raked his way out of it. How do you have a problem with that? Now that you know the story, Do you want to change your tune about that last little hot take you had? If Tiger Woods would have won that tournament with that bunker shot and stayed for the fans, you would have been parading down Hollywood Boulevard telling everyone at the top of your lungs what a great guy he was.
I wouldn't be caught dead on Hollywood Boulevard. I hate LA. Listen, I don't dislike Bryson. I still really like the guy.
It's okay. You took an L on that one. There's wins and learns, and you just learned a little lesson, and that's okay.
I still like the guy, just not as much as I did 24 hours ago. I am way too locked into the idea that he is manufacturing this super likable character and that he's not doing a great job of hiding how fake some of it is.
Really?
Shall we talk about Rory McIlroy?
Oh, yeah.
Number of angles we can take, but let's start here. Did Bryson win this or did Rory choke? I mean, if you're writing segments for First Take, this is what you're starting with today.
How is ESPN still in business?
For every one of us, there are 50 Anthony Bacardis.
Yeah.
I have a real hard time using the word choke, especially when Rory outplayed Bryson yesterday and beat him by 2 strokes. If you zoom out, it's hard to look at a guy who came in 3 shots back and then ultimately lost by just a single stroke and call that person a choker. But the fact of the matter is Rory choked. I know it, you know it, and most importantly, Rory knows it. It doesn't matter that Bryson had him by 3 shots to start yesterday's final round. What matters is that at one point on the back 9, Rory had a 2-shot lead. If anything, it was looking like Bryson was going to be the choker. And then out of nowhere, Rory took both hands off the club and put them around his own throat. The bogey on 15 was because of a really, really dumb tee shot where he carried the ball pin high and flew off the back into the shit. 16 is where the nightmare fuel lives. This is the hole that will haunt Rory's dreams for the rest of his life. All-time choke job material, a helpless beg for the Heimlich maneuver. Rory McIlroy was a perfect 496 for 496 putting inside of 3 feet this season. Hadn't missed one. 100% on nearly 500 putts inside 36 inches. And then it happened, a yippee toey pole on a dead straight layup for par. Yank City, USA, party of 1. Rory is on the bogey train. He's now at the par 3, 2 holes left. He hits a pole hook 9-iron right into the bunker and short sides himself. The wheels are coming off, and they're coming off quick. Lug nuts are bouncing down the highway, and the pit crew is running on foot, trying to hit this guy with an impact wrench before it's too late. Somehow, some way, Rory gets up and down, heads off to 18, tied with BDC, overcooks his drive left, bludgeons one out of the wiregrass back into the fairway, chips his 3rd shot, 3 feet, 9 inches above the hole, and when he needs a par more than he's ever needed a par in 10 years, he hits a downhill snapper with die speed, grabs the low side of the lip, and Wyndham Clark at the Players' Championship will tell you, they lip in on the high side, they lip out on the low side. Bogey 5 for Rory McIlroy, 3 bogeys in his last 4 holes, 2 misses from inside 4 feet, and that is all she wrote. So to the question of, did Bryson win it or did Rory choke? The answer is yes and yes.
Yeah. 2 things can be right at the same time. It's not always us versus them, ladies and gentlemen. It's not always black and white. Winning golf tournaments, especially a tournament as big as this one, with all the pressure in the world, does take solid play. Does take good golf. But the X factor, and no, I'm not talking about Zonder lipping one in for birdie to win. I'm talking about the true X factor in golf. It's moxie. It's brass. It's cojones. The announcers on 18 going back and forth with whoever was reporting from the fairway, what they were both agreeing on what that putt had in it, in amount of break, where it should be. They said something like it's probably left edge, but with speed, it's still inside the hole. So, I mean, dead straight with speed's going to get in there. So it was a moxie putt. It was Matt Gillis at San Clemente Muni. It was a poop stainer. You either get up and hit that one, or you feed it and bring miss into play. And you want to win that tournament, you got to hit that putt. You don't feed it. And when he lined up for it, he was lining up well left. And I said out loud, I wasn't going to text you because you were like, Peacock's 10 seconds behind. Don't fucking ruin this text thread. So I kept it to myself. When I saw him line up for that way left, I was like, oh, he's feeding it. He could miss this. And he missed it. Unbelievable.
I'm gutted for the guy. I like Rory a lot. Can't really explain why. I just like him and I root for him. I want to see him do well and win tournaments. I especially want to see him win majors. I just told you I can't explain it. And these close calls are getting more and more brutal, not because time keeps extending and the drought gets bigger, but because of the way he's losing. At St. Andrews a few years back when Cam Smith won the Open Championship, Rory was in the final group with the lead, and he just threw it in neutral. Absolute neutral. Shot an even par round with 36 putts. He couldn't do that again if he tried. 18 greens in regulation, 18 two putts. That was tough because it was his to win and he couldn't get the lawnmower chain pulled. At LACC last year for the U.S. Open, he was on Wyndham Clark's heels the entire final round, posted his number, and watched Wyndham two-putt from 80 feet on the final hole to win by one shot. Yesterday at the U.S. Open, he decides to actually put some gas in the tank, birdies the very first hole, then birdies 4 times in 5 holes between 9 and 13, hooping it from all over the state, bouncing around like a head-bobbing rooster, all stoked, taking a stranglehold on the thing, about to break a 10-year drought, and then he puts the stranglehold on himself out of nowhere. Epic collapse. And a particularly painful one given the drought, the circumstances, the pressure, the opportunity, how well he played yesterday for 14 holes, the fact that he has finally dialed in his wedge game, he has finally made some putts on Sunday, and the fact that Scottie Scheffler seemed to take the week off. It was all there for Rory until it wasn't. This one has to hurt especially bad. Rory is a 4-time major winner. There are tens of thousands of guys who have played professional golf. Only 29 of them have won 4 or more majors, and half the guys on that list won their 4 or more majors in the late 1800s when 6 people played golf. 4 is a lot, especially by today's standards, but it somehow seems like a criminal underachievement for Rory, and beyond that, I feel like he's becoming more known for the ones he's not winning instead of the ones that he did.
Couldn't have happened to a worse guy.
Your thoughts on Rory leaving Pinehurst without doing any media or shaking Bryson's hand, especially coming off of the PGA Championship when Bryson left the driving range where he was warming up for a playoff with the Z-Man Zonder and then went over to shake Zonder's hand after Zonder beat him by one shot. Your thoughts on Rory hightailing it out of Pinehurst?
Par for the course for him. Very much on brand with his character. That's him. That's the real Rory. He's a front runner. He's whiny when it doesn't go his way. You can't do that. You got to swallow it, man. If you're going to be the face of all this stuff and squawk to the golf world relentlessly for 2 years, then fold like a beach chair in the moment in front of everyone, storm off driving too fast in the parking lot, give me a fucking break, dude. What a chotch. Guy's such a chotch, dude. It behooves me to watch people like you continue to stand up for this guy.
That is not at all the correct usage of the word behooves.
Put it this way, Hawk. I said...
Does it bemoan you?
Bemoan? Sure. I said via text message earlier in the day yesterday, I said Rory McIlroy is caffeine-free Diet Coke Tiger Woods. And he proved it yesterday. He couldn't get it done by coming from behind, which Tiger doesn't do either. And then to show that he wasn't on Tiger's level, he missed those short putts, which Tiger always hit those putts. But then when it didn't go his way and he stormed off, he tucks and rolls and avoids the media, just like Tiger does when it doesn't go his way, and he bails the scene.
Here's what I don't like about it. Last year after LACC, he stuck around to shake Wyndham Clark's hand after Wyndham Clark gutted him. And then he told the media at LACC, quote, "I will go through 100 more Sundays just like this if it means getting one major." So now you go through one of those 100 Sundays and you can't go and talk to the media again. You said you were willing to go through 100 of those. It doesn't look like you were willing to go through one of them. And as the face of the PGA Tour, you do have to go and face the media.
100%.
You want to do our winners and losers?
Let's do it.
We do this after
And Adam loves this podcast.
We do it.
It's rekindled his passion for radio.
We do this after every major, folks. We give our 5 winners.
It's tradition now.
It's tradition. Our 5 winners and our 5 losers. And we will volley this segment back and forth. So we will start with Ryan. Ryan, who is your first winner of the week from Pinehurst?
Hold on, I got to pull it up. Horse hockey.
How far away could this thing be? Is it in our text? Just buried?
Yeah.
You couldn't put that. You couldn't copy that over into a notes app.
Shut up.
My God.
All right.
Would it kill you to prepare for this thing ever?
Then I'd lose the magic.
All right. Bring on the magic.
You know, there's some people here for you, Hawk, but there's a lot of people here for me.
They're waiting on the magic. Those people are waiting for the
winners.
magic.
You want my 5 winners?
I just told you we would volley this segment back and forth. You give me one, I'll give you one.
You want number 1 or number 5?
I don't care. I'll just take something at this point.
So we're not numbering them. We're just in no numerical order.
Particular order.
Particular. Behooves me to say this.
Okay.
I'm going, obviously, Bryson, clearly the biggest winner. And I'm not just talking about hoisting the trophy. There is a laundry list of things that he has conquered and accomplished in this victory that, quite frankly, made this event from a ho-hum championship to something a little above average. But to fanboys like yourself, made it a great U.S. Open, A-.
Big winner for me, starting out my list of 5, Rory McIlroy.
I knew you'd have some stupid, quirky list and take.
What? Rory McIlroy, a big winner? Yes, indeed, good sir. Rory McIlroy, who filed for divorce from his wife just ahead of the PGA Championship, withdrew those papers just ahead of the U.S. Open. And quite frankly, folks, you love to hear it. I am an unapologetic fan of the unbroken home. And whenever a married couple decides to give it another go, especially when there are children involved, I can't help but think that is a huge win. And since Rory withdrew the divorce papers during Pinehurst, he is a big winner from Pinehurst.
Cheaper to keep her.
Okay, your turn.
Augusta National. Big winner this week. And quite frankly, there'll be a big winner every major championship week because they just keep proving time and time again that they've got it right and everyone's fighting for second place.
My second winner from the week at Pinehurst, the House. Who is the House, you may ask? The House is the collective global sports book made up of casinos, online websites, and street bookies, who, according to ESPN, took in 75% of their U.S. Open bets on Scottie Scheffler to win. What that means is that at least 75% of all money wagered on the U.S. Open is going right back to the House because Scottie finished T41 after making only 4 birdies all week. 4 birdies all week. Rory made 5 on Sunday alone. So the House absolutely cleaned up this week thanks to Scottie Scheffler throwing up this week. Your third winner?
Going dads across America.
Across or across?
Across America. Whether the U.S. Open doesn't quite reach the levels that Augusta National reaches, the fact that it coincides with Father's Day every year is pretty rad. Dads are important, so it's nice to see the good, heartfelt stuff over the weekend, the clips of dads and their kids walking the grounds and sharing the U.S. Open. And even if you're a dad that doesn't like to hang out with their kids and just sit in a chair all weekend and watch golf and have them get out of the house and go somewhere else, at least you get to have that for yourself too. And it's nice that Father's Day has a major championship tied to it. So I do love that about the U.S. Open. Big win for the dads across America.
My third winner, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, big winner from Pinehurst this week.
Here we go.
48 years old, doesn't play golf anymore, 5 back surgeries, 1 near leg amputation, more rods and screws in him than an erector set. Shoots 7 over at an extremely difficult golf course, misses the cut by just 2, outplays half the field, including Eric Van Rooyen, Tom Hoagie, Will Zalatoris, Jason Day, Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Dustin Johnson, and Gary Woodland. When my expectations are 0, which they are for Tiger Woods, and he goes out and acquits himself extremely well, especially after how embarrassing the Masters and the PGA Championship were, Tiger Woods is a big winner this week.
You Tiger fanboys have more glaze than a Krispy Kreme donut factory with the hot and fresh light on.
Your 4th winner from this week.
Golf club technology. It's creating a watered-down test for the caliber of players in professional golf. The golf courses, the way in which they have to set it up, the history behind some of these sacred grounds, it's all in jeopardy because we've allowed these manufacturers to get away with murder and put absolutely easy clubs to hit in these pros' hands. Big winner this week is golf club technology, and you hate to see it.
My 4th winner from this week, Brandel Chambly.
He was doing play-by-play.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Felt like Johnny Miller was back in the booth. This guy, love him or hate him, he's unafraid. He tells it like it is. Even at one point, he jokingly asked if there was a metric for strokes gained good breaks. And he was referencing Bryson DeChambeau missing 15 fairways yesterday and having a lucky break every time he pulled up into the native area and had a very playable shot. Brandel Chambly taking the piss out of data analytics and Bryson DeChambeau at the same time and calling out the fact that Pinehurst didn't have nearly the teeth that everyone was giving it credit for, and doing that in one line on a national television broadcast with everything to lose. NBC is partnered with the USGA. The USGA is partnered with Pinehurst. And for him to say that on the broadcast, to essentially say that the guy leading the tournament is getting lucky over and over and over again, I don't care if you love this guy or hate this guy. We need people to say that because it's what we're thinking and what we're texting.
Right.
And Brandel Chambly said that over the air. He wanted the carnage. He wanted the teeth. And he makes me miss golf announcers like Johnny Miller and even Pablo Azinger, who aren't afraid to call the golf event. So Brandel Chambly, big winner for me this week.
Gets a lot of hate, and I get why. But the reality is he knows the game. I like the fact that he's willing to put himself out there. And look, he's not just spouting out nonsense. The guy does his research. He's prepared. You can appreciate that. He does know what he's talking about, whether you like it or not. That's a personal thing. We need guys like that. I think he's good for it all. You got to have both sides. You got to have a push and pull, and I back that choice.
Thank you. Your 5th and final winner from Pinehurst this week.
5th and final winner from Pinehurst this week. Live Golf.
Oh, do you want me to come over the table right now?
I'm telling you, Hawk, look, we don't watch it. We know it's laughable. Just the graphic designs alone for the teams for Live Golf make it a joke. Just that, right? Take the 54 holes out, the shotgun start, all this stuff. Those are all things that you can nitpick as far as creating a reason why you hate the thing. Take that all aside. Just the logos itself are worth calling it a joke. That being said, we watch the PGA Tour week in and week out. Do we not? We do. Every major that comes now for quite some time since this whole division, without the live guys, these tournaments would be a shell of themselves. And the fact that it takes one of those live guys to create the excitement in each one of these majors also exploits and exposes the fact that the regular tour stops week in and week out are absolute library parties. Whether you like them or not, whether you're going to watch Live or not, or whether Live succeeds or not, the fact that their guys come in and make a big change keeps them in the conversation on the map. So they're a big winner this week. And they're making a bigger impact on these majors than the entire PGA Tour field.
Yeah, and it's settling a couple of debates at the same time. It is objectively settling a couple of debates. Can the LIV golfers hang with the PGA guys in major championships? Absolutely they can. Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson nearly won the Masters 2 years ago. Brooks Koepka then went on to win the PGA Championship a couple of weeks later. Bryson DeChambeau, after almost winning the PGA Championship this year, went on to win the U.S. Open yesterday. Can the LIV golfers hang with the PGA Tour guys at majors? Yes. Objectively, factually, yes. Does any of that change the LIV golf product week in and week out? Does it help the ratings? Does it make you want to flip over there and check it out? Objectively, no.
Yeah. It's a win-lose.
It is. It is a win-lose. And it just screams how badly golf needs to unify and come back together. My final winner from the week, Neil Shipley. Low amateur at Augusta, low amateur at Pinehurst, first player since Victor Hovland to win low am at the Masters and the U.S. Open in the same year. I will say that NBC missed an incredible storytelling opportunity, and it's pretty inexcusable. Neil Shipley was paired with Luke Clanton in the final round. Both of these guys are college amateurs, and both of them were tied coming into the final round on Sunday.
That was a match play.
Both of them had the only realistic shot at low am for the week. So essentially these guys are playing their own major inside a major. And yeah, it's stroke play, but it pretty much was a match.
And NBC shows the last putting green. That was like the entirety of their coverage of it. And you're like, where the fuck were you guys?
Seriously, we haven't seen two AMs in a Sunday pairing together since 2008. And through 13 holes, these guys were tied. And then they swapped the lead a few times, and it came down to 18, where Shipley eventually won. But come on, NBC. You checked in on that twice all day.
Yeah, dude. NBC was horrible all week.
Horrible. NBC, you have to show that golf. You have to show those guys playing those holes. There was so much broadcasting of the leaders walking from shot to shot or green to tee box or talking with their caddies over what they were going to do. NBC could have easily shown this low amateur duel, and they should have, because the USGA is primarily an amateur association. The USGA hosts 17 championships every year. 13 of them are for amateurs. The way the PGA celebrates the teaching pro is the way the USGA celebrates the amateur. It's their entire business. So if two guys are going for low am and they're in the same group and they're tied and it's the final round on a Sunday and one of them is going to get a bunch of TV time and a medal and it means the world to them, show every shot of that and tell the audience why it's important.
Big miss.
Big miss. But it sounded like I was giving a loser there. I'm actually giving a winner. Neil Shipley. What a year.
Yeah, what a year. Do you think he's got the moxie to take it to the pro level?
We'll see. I think he's definitely marketable because you see this guy once and you never forget who he is. He has got the biggest face of all time. Have you ever seen a bigger face? His face is huge.
Yeah, he's got Max Fisher vibes right now with his new hairdo.
By the way, you're now 3 for 3 on inside jokes no one's going to get besides us. Let's see if you can hit for the cycle. Moving on to the losers.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
I'm going to go number one, the biggest loser of the week. The quote-unquote natural area. Biggest loser.
All right. Well, let me quickly correct your verbiage so people know what you're talking about. You're talking about the native area.
Whatever. Maybe effective in being jail, maybe 20% of the time. More often than not, those guys are hitting the green from it, which made driving and precision off the tee not a premium, which clearly made it a 2-horse race, and they were both bomb and gougers. And to me, that's just not U.S. Open golf. Second biggest loser of the week, no rough. Look, you see it at Bay Hill, number of places. When you have thick Bermuda rough, these guys have a very, very hard time. And those fairways were way too wide. I think the way to combat that is the native areas need to be even more penalizing, and you need to narrow the fairways just for this tournament by creating a rough on both sides leading into the native areas. So I think the fact that there was no rough was a big loser this week. It took away what historically usually is a shot-making tournament, and it turned it back into a bomb and gouge fest, and I just didn't like seeing that.
You're going to get your ideal U.S. Open next year at Oakmont.
As long as they do it right, because Oakmont's known to have super fast greens. If they grow that rough out, keep those fairways narrow, it's going to be real U.S. Open-y.
You're going to get that. And the last time the U.S. Open was at Oakmont, I was there.
Wow. I've got the pin flag to show for it.
I do. Actually, it's here. I brought it here.
I know, dude.
Right on the other side of the wall. I'll give you two losers. Rory McIlroy. He was on my winners list. He's on my losers list. Goes without saying, choke job. Even if he wins another major, there's still this one that obviously got away. So right now, he should have 5. He doesn't. He has 4. And if he gets 5, he should have 6. You see how this works? For the rest of his life, he's always going to have the one major that he left on the table.
2, really.
You're talking about the Masters back in 2014?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. He actually should have 6 right now, but he's at 4.
Which is ironic because it'd be 1 behind Mr. Palmer still. And as you know, Mr. Palmer was known when he was still alive. If you were a professional golfer and you did anything out of the character of gentleman sportsmanship within the game of golf, you would receive a letter from Mr. Palmer, a personal letter. And fun fact about Mr. McIlroy, he's received a couple of letters from Mr. Palmer for his actions, which is why Rory's on my biggest losers list as well, folks. And it's not for his play. It's not for his choke job. It's for his lack of sportsmanship. And just so you know, Rory, if letters could come from heaven, Mr. Palmer would be giving you one right now.
This is incredible, folks. This might be my favorite part of the podcast in the 1 year that we've done it. I told you I was going to give you 2 losers. You barrel into my first one, give an Arnold Palmer take, and then go, and here's my second loser.
Yep.
So I still owe the folks at home 2.
That is what you call the magic of being unprepared.
Yeah, the magic of being unprepared. Golf Instagram. Oh, the stupid losers on Golf Instagram. Golf Channel posted Rory's second shot into 5 green, the par 5 on the front 9 that we all saw, where dude hit a 5-iron that rolled up to the middle of the green. Then it took a sharp left and fell off the front, rolled some 30 yards back down towards where Patrick Cantlay's ball was, skirts the bunker, and then winds up in a footprint in the Wiregrass native area. Totally ridiculous, gimmicky hole. Not a quote-unquote golf test, just stupid. I get playing golf on a razor's edge, and I like that. And I am all for the ball rolling off a false front if you miss your spot. But I am not fine with it turning into a 2 to 3 shot penalty. That's not fair. That's not good golf. This guy went from having a look at eagle to grinding for bogey. That's bullshit. And we called it out on Instagram, and everyone wrote back, "You probably liked the 21 under PGA Championship. Go watch the Corn Ferry where they fill it up with birdies. This is a U.S. Open." Who the hell are you talking to? We are the biggest defenders of grind fests, and we did an entire episode called Slap Dick Major, making fun of the PGA Championship.
Correct.
We barely acknowledge the PGA Championship as a major. Again, we say it all the time. 2 things can be true at the same time. There's nuance here. You can love U.S. Opens and love a hard test and think that a ball that is almost pin high, rolling off the front 30 yards back and winding up in a footprint is bullshit.
Hitting a 5-iron 240 under pressure right to the spot and coming up just a half a yard short and having that trickle all the way off the green into a depression in the native area, that's not golf. That should have rolled into the rough. You put that rough around the course and around the greens especially. Now, instead of forcing the only shot that you can hit out of that native area, you're gaining the shot-making creativity, because if you have the Bermuda rough surrounding the greens, now you're giving the player different options of how he plays that shot, which in my opinion makes it more entertaining. That's one of the reasons why I was saying that this U.S. Open wasn't as entertaining, because when they did get in trouble, there was only one play. 4 days of that from everyone in the field, it just became so monotonous, dude. And we lost the magic of shot making. So I'm with you on that. Golf Instagram, big loser. People are idiots. We all know that. That shot was an amazing shot. It had no business being 50 yards left of where it landed in a footprint in the fucking sand.
You know how I know we've done this podcast for a year? I just saw some broadcasting 101 by Mr. Engle here.
What'd I do?
Great use of the word monotonous, and then an immediate bow tying back to the original point, which is Golf Instagram was the biggest loser. I mean, that was great vocabulary and a wonderful wrap-up all in one.
Wow.
It's like I'm watching a broadcaster flourish right before my eyes.
Imagine if I did a little prep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going 2 in a row.
Let's do it.
USA chants. They are the worst. They are nonsensical. They have no place in golf.
How dumb are they?
The USA golf chant is dumb on a new level because it just doesn't make any sense. Why are you chanting USA during individual stroke play in an open championship format? This isn't the Ryder Cup. It's not team play. I really don't like that the USA chant comes out when a non-USA player messes up.
That's why they're doing it.
That's not sportsmanship. That's a letter from
I
Arnold
agree.
Palmer right there.
I agree.
To chant USA at Rory McIlroy when he missed on 18, borderline xenophobic. Why are you chanting USA at an Irishman playing an individual game in an open championship format? An Irishman that lives in Florida and pays taxes to this country. Who does that? Especially after he misses the most important putt of his life. You're going to hit him with the USA chant? Go to hell. Go to hell. You're making the country look bad. Number one rule of golf, you don't root against anyone, at least not out loud. It's the worst thing in all of sports, the USA chant. I hate it. These clowns at Pinehurst did it at Ludwig Aubert on Saturday. When
I like that kid.
I do too. They chanted USA at Ludwig on Saturday when he was playing with Bryson. And the idiots at Harbour Town did it last year when Matt Fitzpatrick was in a playoff against Jordan Spieth. It's not a team game, and it's certainly not a nationality team game. It just feels gross, weird, rude, and borderline xenophobic to chant a country's name at someone who isn't from here playing an individual golf tournament in a gentleman's format. At the very, very least, it is taunting. And taunting in golf is like farting in church. You just don't do it. Wow. So here's my suggestion. If you yell at a golf tournament, you're kicked out. Period, full stop. You're kicked out. If you chant USA at a foreigner, you are banned for life and kicked out of this country. Your thoughts?
Rory's a U.S. citizen, isn't he?
Maybe a dual citizen?
Yeah, he's a U.S. citizen.
I think.
So he's American.
I think.
I mean, he's not like flying back every 6 months to Northern Ireland because his visa is up.
Yeah, I don't know.
He lives in Florida, right?
I know he lives in Florida.
So he's American, which makes it even more silly.
It's just so dumb.
It's lowbrow. It's stupid. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You're right about that. But the crocodile tears because of it are kind of ridiculous.
Is that me?
Yeah, you. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's a trickle down from the Ryder Cup. I get why they're doing it. Doesn't make it right. I don't care much about it because it's obvious. That's just where we're at in this golf space, in this grow the game, lower the levels of decorum, and let all the people from their shanties in.
Damn you people! Go back to your shanties.
That's just where it is. Of course they're chanting that. I would never chant those words. It's ridiculous, especially considering that Rory is an American and the Ryder Cup is kind of a sham. It's not really us versus them, guys. They all live over here. They've all got U.S. passports. They're all playing in the Jupiter Island members guest. You know, flying into their tea times in their helicopters and shit and their yachts. It's all a big joke. They don't live over there. There's maybe like 2 guys on the European team that actually live in Europe. The rest of them are all fucking Americans, dude. Ryder Cup's a big sham. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic of conversation. Do I have more to give? I think I do.
How many more losers do you have on your list? I have 2.
I think I have one more.
Okay, so let me give one, and then we'll each give our last ones.
Okay.
The PGA Championship is a big loser this week after we watched what happened at a real major. Because guess what happened at the U.S. Open? No one died, no one was arrested, and 7 under won the golf tournament. It was entertaining. It was real golf. It was fun as hell to watch. Like you said with Augusta, the more you see all the other majors, the better Augusta gets for you. The more I see all the other majors,
the worse the PGA gets.
worse the PGA gets.
That's so true.
The PGA needs to go away, and the Players' Championship needs to be the legitimate 4th major. In fact, the PGA can be hosted at Sawgrass every year. Your final loser.
It's another golf course criticism, and that's nothing against Pinehurst. The USGA is the one that comes in there and puts their thumbprint and their John Hancock all over the place, and it's the firm fairways. Letting these guys hit fades that fly 315 yards and then getting 60 yards of roll out of them. What's the point? How much further back can you build a tee box? What are they going to start doing? Is this going to be like the Jetsons? They're just going to like put some platform back there and make it 700-yard par 5s? What a joke. Hey guys, it's sandy soil. Water it. You're not going to get mud balls. There's no mud there. Water it, bring the mower up just a touch, and make that ball sit. Then you'll have longer irons in. But you let these guys get all that roll, it's stupid. And then you get to the ball, and it's just like hitting off a mat. You're getting 10 extra yards from the trampoline effect. It's dumb. 315 fade, great shot. If it sits there, that's maybe 3 more clubs longer coming into the green. Now we're talking. So, firm fairways, big loser. You're adding yardage to make it look long and hard on paper, but you're giving them the gift of run out. Makes no sense.
Great take. My final loser of this week at Pinehurst, Dustin Johnson.
Where did he go?
My statement to Dustin Johnson is quit. Quit the game. Take your money, run or walk. I don't care. Just go away.
I think he did. This is just all like appearances.
You, Dustin Johnson, are such a waste of space on the golf course.
Waste of talent because, like him or not, he was part of the mix.
Oh, yeah.
For every tournament, every big tournament.
He is a 2-time major winner, should be 3 or 4-time major winner.
For sure.
And a 20-time PGA Tour winner. He is in such an elite class that if he were to quit today, like I think he should, they would call him tomorrow and say, when can you...
Come on down, we got a jacket for you.
Yeah, when can you get to the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Because you're going in.
Yeah.
He's that good, or was that good. But this year, missed cut at 13 over par at the Masters.
He looks uninterested.
Tied for 43rd, 15 shots off the lead at the PGA Championship. And again, a missed cut at 9 over at the U.S. Open. I hate that I had to give them the click by looking it up, but he has not had a top 10 over on the LIV Tour since March. A top 10. There aren't even 10 good players over there.
Wow, that's emotional.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's emotional.
Let me walk that back. There aren't 11 good players over there.
He's an emotional take artist, folks. He can't help it.
Look, Dustin Johnson, I don't want to see you again.
Yeah. I heard he's got a nice boat.
Yeah, I heard he should stay on that boat. Yesterday was Father's Day. Ryan and I are both dads, and we are both sons, obviously. That's how we got here. We love our dads, and we got this message yesterday. And by we, I do mean Ryan got this message. I will read it, and Ryan will respond to it. And I'm not going to say who sent it because it's a pretty personal message, and I don't want to embarrass this person or put their name out there. So I'll just read it, and Ryan can respond to it. It goes like this. Ryan, first and foremost, happy Father's Day to you. I don't want to intrude on your Father's Day, but I just saw a post on your Instagram stories about your late father. My wife and I are expecting our first son. I just tragically lost my father to a heart attack Saturday before Father's Day. We had a 7 a.m. tea time this morning with my younger brother. My dad died at home at just 60 years old, just about a month away from being a grandpa. Instead of that happening, we just wrapped up funeral arrangements for the coming days. I talked to my dad every day. He was my golf partner. We played against each other in tight matches, and we were great in 2- and 4-man scrambles. We knew each other's game better than anyone else's. I learned everything about golf from my dad. He was a great player in his own right and maintained a 3 handicap this year until he passed. And he just made his 7th ace this past Saturday, a week before he died. My question to you, as a member of the fellowship, how did you navigate through that first month, 6 months, year of losing your father? And what were the family gatherings like? What helped you get through your daily life and your work? And what mindset helped keep you focused on life instead of dwelling on the loss?
I wrote him back some stuff because I had to think about that. If I read it, I'll probably lose my emotion, so I'm just going to shoot from the hip. Obviously, it's extremely difficult, and the only way you can describe it is you're getting your ass kicked. And when you're getting your ass kicked, you can mistakenly take the beating yourself, or you can call your boys for help. And you know who those people are. Could be brothers, sisters, friends. We all have at least a small amount of people who we can rely on, and you know what, you gotta lean on them, and they want you to, and you gotta have the brass to do so and open up, because you gotta get it out, and you need help. You can't take this beating alone. You gotta get it out. Basically, the way I got through it was I wrote a lot of shit down, and it was hard, and I probably won't go back and read much of it, because it's like a it's like a fire sprinkler going off, you know? But it helps you cement those memories and helps an idiot like me remember a lot of those key things. So I would suggest doing that, and you just got to buckle up, because as much as it sucks to lose that father figure in your life, and especially in this case, your friend, your golf partner, your person, as much as that sucks, and yeah, leaving too early sucks even more, what an absolute blessing it is to have a dad like that. And you have to love them more than you miss them. And what they are doing is looking down on you and expecting you to be better than them. So you have a job to do. It's going to be hard, but this type of shit makes you so much bigger and better and stronger. And now you have your own, and you've learned from someone that did everything he could to leave behind an opportunity to do better than him. And then now you have an opportunity to be an even better dad than he was to your new son. What an incredible opportunity, and heartbreaking, but incredible timing to do so, because, man, if you can come out on top through this timeline of unfortunate events, just imagine watching your new son get a hole-in-one on your future Sunday 7 a.m. tee time.